What's up, guys? Welcome back to RacingDudes.com. Welcome back to another one of our previews. Yes, back to race previews. Finally, we've got some good racing to talk about on Thanksgiving weekend. And really throughout the rest of the year, the racing's going to be pretty good. We'll start off with the Grade 2 Clark Stakes. Going to happen on Black Friday, November 29th. Race 11 on the card. Field of 10. I'll put it up on the screen now for you guys here. Field of 10. No superstars in this race. Certainly have to say that. No stars in the race. No horses that, can't miss horses, anything like that. But we do have kind of an evenly matched field of 10 here. Let's go through them one by one. We'll talk about them, and then we'll pick a winner at the end. Number one, Bowlesies, who we'll start with, coming off of a nice second-place effort last time out in the Fayette Stakes at Keeneland. You're going to talk about a few of the Fayette runners because they're in this race as well. Bowlesley was 28-1 that day, took the field almost gate to wire, got out to a length lead, got beat 3/4 of a length. Frankie Dettori to ride again for the second straight time. So we'll see if he can take him again at gate to wire. I think the good news is Bowlesley's at the rail. So, shortest way around the track. He wants to go pretty much. You're going to think he wants to go to the lead. So that's good. Break sharp. You'll get out to the front. Bad news is there is a little bit of other speed in the race. I'm not sure he's going to get that same trip he did last time out. And so that might make it a little bit more complicated for him. But there's worse 12-1 runners. There's no doubt about that. I do think he shows up with a little bit of a chance. Well, speaking of the Fayette, the number 2 is Grand Aspen. He did not do well in the Fayette. He was 8th, beaten 31 1/4. However, this was his first race since the Pegasus all the way back in January. Now, unfortunately, in the Pegasus, he was 11th, beaten 50. So his last two races, he's been beaten 81 1/4 lengths. Not great. Should run better second off the layoff. Not one that I could support, though. Just seems to be a horse that he's going to need to prove it again. He's going to have to show up and run a nice race before you can really think he's got a big shot. He does have races in the past performances that make him competitive, like the race 3 back in the Harlan Holiday, which is December 30th of 2023. The horse ran second, only beat a neck, and ran well enough to be 14-1 in the Pegasus, like we just talked about. But we'll have to see if he gets back into form. That's going to be the big question there. The number 3 is Krupe. A horse that you kind of know what he's going to do. Drop towards the back, try to make a late run. He's going to need pace. We know that. His last race in the Woodward, 3rd, beaten 14, did no running whatsoever. In the Whitney, he was 2nd, beaten 2 1/4. He was okay that day. I mean, he did come running. There was a lot of pace in that race, and it set up decently for him. But, he wasn't going to catch Arthur's ride that day. He was 2nd, beaten almost 10 lengths the next 3 races back in the Brooklyn. We do look at the race, the Suburban. He did win that race at Saratoga, going 1 1/4. This may be a little short for him at 1 1/8, to where you see his peak performance. But this field isn't much. I mean, he definitely is facing weaker horses than he has in his last couple, or last 3 at least. So the race does kind of remind you more of the Suburban than it does, any of the other 3 races that he's been up against. So I think he shows up with a chance. I don't love him on top. I do think underneath he makes a lot of sense. Paroli, the 4 horse, will be next. This horse is coming off of a win last time out at Keeneland in an allowance race at this distance, and he did it nicely. He won by 2 1/4. Before that, he hadn't really done a whole lot. Kind of been close in a couple of smaller stakes races or in an allowance race, but that Keeneland race, he really woke up. If he can run that kind of race again, he's got a shot. That's kind of an outlier, though, when you look at his past performances. So I'm not in love with the 4 much at all. Number 5 is Most Wanted. This horse is 4 for 4, and he's done it, not in runaway fashion, but at least has been winning, getting to the line first. Broke the maiden by a neck right here at Churchill, going 7 furlongs. Went 1 mile next time out at Ellis and won by 3/4 of a length in an allowance race, and beat Uno Mas Bourbon, who's also in this race. Came back in in a stakes race, another race going 1 mile in the Ellis Park Derby. Was able to win again, only won by a nose, but was able to get the job done. And then last time out, went over to the Oklahoma Derby Grade 3 race there at Remington, stretched out to 1 1/8. I thought easily, without any question, this was the best race of his career. And maybe it was because of the stretch out in distance to 1 1/8. He kind of, took control. He was up near the lead. They weren't going slow. I mean, he was going decently quick. and he finished strongly. I thought it was a very strong race. So stepping up to take on older horses for the first time today. Well, actually, that's not true. For the first time since that race at Ellis. That race at Ellis was against older horses. So he has beaten older horses before, but first time in stakes company is what I meant to say there at first, that he's taking on older. So that'll be a big question mark, but he seems to be getting better with each start, and the numbers back that up. The number 6 is Hit Show. Boy, it's a shock. Hit Show's won 3 races in a row. He kind of had been known, at least last year, as the horse that just couldn't quite get the job done in some of the bigger races. Came back and won an allowance here to start 2024. Then just didn't run very well in the Cornhusker. Not a good race at all from him. And kind of shake your head like, I don't know, maybe he's just always going to be that kind of average type of horse. But then has rattled off 3 wins: the West Virginia Governor's Cup, the Lucas Classic, and the Fayette last time out. He comes in with a big shot. Brad Cox has got this horse running pretty well. He'll be tough once again in this one. The number 7 is Rattle and Roll. He's coming off of a 3rd place effort in the Lucas Classic behind Hit Show and Cook Creek, 2 horses that are in this race. This will be the second start off the layoff, though. We hadn't seen Rattle and Roll in basically almost 365 days. So almost a full year since we had seen him. As a matter of fact, we had last seen him in the Lucas Classic in 2023. Should run better. Definitely should run better. How much better is a question mark. With this horse, him getting up for the win, he's done it quite a bit, but in bigger races, he hadn't been able to do it. This is a bigger race in name only, though. This is not a strong field, so this could be the right spot to give a shot to Rattle and Roll. Number 8 is Red Route 1, and he's kind of a horse that I never forget about. I kind of forgot about him. Why? We haven't seen him since July 6th. The last time we saw Red Route 1, he won the Cornhusker at Prairie Meadows, and he did it by a half length. Now, he had always kind of been known as a horse that could get up and hit the board, but just never could really get a big-time win. I will say, though, this season, he has 2 graded 6 victories. He won the New Orleans at Fairgrounds, and he won the Prairie Meadows, or the Cornhusker at Prairie Meadows. So, I don't know. Maybe he isn't that horse anymore. Maybe you got to take him serious. I think it's interesting he comes off a layoff. This horse has never had a break. He debuted August of 2022, and pretty much every 30, 40, 50 days, this horse was at the track, and now he has 146 days between races. I'm interested to see if that freshening helps. I think the pace, obviously, he's like Krupe. The pace is going to have to heat up, but he's very fascinating to be in this race. I would not be shocked if he runs a pretty good one in here. And look, again, if you think the pace is going to set up, maybe he's your horse. Number 9 is Cook Creek. I bet Cook Creek last time out in the Lucas Classic got beat by a neck at 4-1, but a horse had won 3 straight races before that, a claiming event at Churchill, and then won an allowance at Churchill, and then won an allowance at Saratoga. And then, like I said, second, right behind Hit Show last time out. I think him and Bowlesy are going to be part of the pace. I think those are the 2 horses to kind of keep an eye out for as far as the pace goes. Man, I really want to pick him again, but that was just a heartbreaking loss last time out. I don't think he's going to get a lonely lead or anything like that. If he does, I think he's going to be tough, but I do think there'll be other pace involved in it. But Cook Creek, he's been impressive, in those last 3 races, really the last 4, even though he lost last time out. Pretty good race. Finally, the number 10 is Uno Moss Bourbon. Ran 3rd last time out, beaten 4 3/4 in the Fayette. Got beat by Hit Show and Bowlesy. I don't really know how you turn the tables on either one of those in this spot, but look, 2 races back, Uno Moss Bourbon won the Super Derby at Louisiana Downs. That's not a bad win. Like I said, 3 races back, was pretty competitive with Most Wanted at Ellis. So look, there's worse 20-1 shots. I would support this 20-1 over the 2 or over the 4, who are also 20-1. So if you're looking for a longer price, this is probably the one that makes the most sense. But still, I hitting the board, I could definitely see, but getting all the way up for the win, I'm just not sure about that. All right, so let's get to it. And I'm going to go with the number 5, Most Wanted, on top for Brad Cox. I really, I bet him in the Oklahoma Derby, as did many, many people. He was 4-5. I thought he ran better than I thought he would, in that race. Obviously, I thought he'd run okay because I had picked him to win. He was better than okay. I thought he was very good in that one. So I'm going to give the number 5 Most Wanted a shot here. I like how this horse is coming into the race. He's kind of proven to be a fighter a little bit as well, and I think he'll sit just behind the 1 and the 9 here, kind of stalk that pace and then go get him at the top of the stretch. So the number 5 Most Wanted will be my pick to win the Clark Stakes. All right, guys, that'll do it for our preview of the Clark Stakes live from Churchill Downs. That'll be Friday, November 29th, race 11 on the card. Thanks, everybody, for watching the video. Hit that like button if you like it. Hit subscribe. You really like it. Want to get alerted anytime we do videos like this. And most importantly, good luck if you're betting Churchill Downs on Friday.